So today's going to be the final installment of the 91 Bassmaster Classic. We'll talk a little bit about the channel first. I've been at this for 2 months now, and started with my first club win, and I think it was 1980. Did a few things on some bait and tackle. Today I got some, dug out some more for this memorabilia, and talk about the final thing. I'm at 96 subscribers right now, so I'd love to make 100 with this video. So if you could hit that subscribe button, that would be great. I found this patch. This is a Bassmaster Classic 1991. See it right there backwards. Last time we talked about the first day of the Classic. A couple things I thought. I linked a video of the Classic. I watched that video, picked up a couple things that I might not have remembered that well, and wanted to mention a couple more things. The first day, Zell Rowland, he led the tournament with 10-15. He was fishing in the Susquehanna River. He was starting at the marina where the Redman tournaments, all the previous tournaments I'd fished in the bay. Gets held is where he was starting. He was catching them on his popper. Shaw Grigsby, I remember Shaw. I got the dollar bet with him. I was in 19th after the first, or 16th after the first day. He was 14th. Another thing I recalled by watching the film, this was Kevin Van Dam's first Classic. So as being a fellow Northerner, and the fact I was born in Michigan, I did have some interaction with him. He was more receptive than most the other pros, and he was 6th after the first day. They showed him a lot in the thing because he's quite the phenom. And Ken Cook, the eventual winner, was in 9th place. Okay, so the second day, I went out. I ran back to Still Pond. I started the morning throwing my shad wrap again, and I don't remember if I caught anything or not. I didn't have a very good day the second day. The highlight of the second day was that when I got back to the dock where I caught the 4-pounder on the outgoing tide, I flipped a jig up next to the same laydown log that was jammed under his dock, and I caught another great big fish, probably 3.5 pounds. I ended up with 2 fish for 5 pounds. I had a dead fish. I believe it was killed by a jellyfish. There was the salt content was real high back at the time. Your press observer could fish. I had a press observer catching snapper blues, throwing out the back of the boat, throwing out towards deeper water. There was jellyfish floating around, and I got cut off 4 or 5 times. In the film, you'll see that Randy Romig, who eventually finished second in the tournament, fishing in the Chester River, they show him whiffing a lot during that, just getting cut off by these barnacles. So the big news the second day was how the Federation did. So on the second day, Gary Brown from Ohio, the Central Division qualifier, caught the second biggest catch of the day. He moved up from 22nd to 8th place. Jerry Wagner moved up to 16th place. I fell to 19th. Denny Stacy moved up to 22nd, and Nicky Truesdale, we didn't 4-fish that day, but they didn't weigh much, and he moved up to 38th place, a couple places. So so overall, we had at this point 3 of the 5 Wrangler Anglers in the top half of the field. Gary Brown had made a big move. I mean, Zell only caught 6 pounds this second day, and Jerry caught 12. So the pros were nervous, and I think a big part of our success was the new format. This is only like the 3rd year of the National Championship Wrangler Angler system, format. We were all pretty comfortable because the format of the Federation National Champion is identical to the Classic, and so it It wasn't like we were strangers to the format. Nobody was that nervous, at least I wasn't. I didn't think. So, and I think ultimately this program was part of what led to Brian Kershaw eventually winning, and there was a number of high finishes for the Federation anglers in this era. So with the third day, I went out and I drew out with a Press Observer, Chris Duffy, local guy from Maryland, and I found an article he wrote about his conclusion to the Classic. He talks about the winning strategy here. He talks about Romig's tournament, what Rick Clunn did, but I wanted to read you what he said about me because I was I'd not recalled, a little bit surprised. He says, Ed Cowan also had a plan. The New Yorker fished the Hudson River like Chesapeake Bay Hudson River is title, and in addition, Cowan has done well in previous Chesapeake tournaments he fished. His plan was to boat 20 minutes across the bay to Still Pond Creek. He began the Classic with the rudiments of a pattern which got stronger, not weaker, with each passing day. I'm convinced Cowan could have won the event had he been able to put it all together from day one. His pattern was twofold. When the tide was high and the light level was low, he cast a minnow imitation crankbait, that would have been the shad rap, to bass running the gravel banks. After the sun got high, and he had 5 fish fitting in the live well, don't you know, Cowan switched to a big bass pattern, soft plastic lure, which he pitched at the shady recesses provided by pier pilings. It is interesting to note a two-pronged attack was shared by other contestants as well. So now we can talk about the second day. I think from the article you got a pattern, got an idea that I caught some fish. So I went over to Still Pond the second day, and I, like Chris said, I had to recall, apparently I caught a whole limit of fish on my shad rap that morning. Tides later, an hour every day, so it's probably some moving water where there might not have been the first couple days. And what really made the big difference is I stopped setting the hook when I got a bite. I got bit off cut off by the barnacles so many times. I was out of contention to win. I guess I calmed down and paid more attention to what I was doing. And when I'd get a bite, I just let the fish sit there with the lure in his mouth until I was sure that I wasn't going to contact any wood when I set the hook. And I never had a single cutoff the last day of the tournament. And one of the big highlights of the day is when I got to the tide level where I caught those 2 big fish, one each of the previous 2 days, off that log under that dock. I pitched my worm in there, and I caught a fish, and I called. And I pitched my worm in there, and I caught a fish, and I called. And I pitched my worm in there, and I caught a fish, and I called. I caught 7 bass off that log on consecutive flips the third day of the Bassmaster Classic. And a valuable lesson you learn from that, especially when you're dealing with current or just in general, is the biggest fish in the area will dominate the prime piece of cover. So that's why the first day I caught the biggest fish there. And then the second day I caught another big fish there. And after those 2 big fish were no longer in the area, every keeper bass in that stretch wanted to be on that place because that's a prime piece of cover. And that was really cool. So then I don't remember if I did any other days, but that day I ran, after I'd caught a lot of fish in Still Pond, I ran to a creek off the Sassafras River that I'm not going to name because I won a tournament there 3 years ago, and caught a couple more fish. So the last day I can talk about the standings here, look at the thing. So Ken Cook won the tournament with 33 pounds, 2 ounces. Jerry Wagner of Arkansas, the southern, Wrangler Angler, moved up to 9th place with his 9.5 5. I moved up to 13th with 9.8. Gary Brown dropped to 17th, and Denny Stacy finished 19th. We had 4 guys in the top half of the field in that classic, so that's pretty impressive performance for a group of Federation anglers. Mickey ended up in 38th. He did catch his 2 fish the final day on a spot that I had given him in the Gunpowder River. He had 311 for 2 fish, which was a little better quality fish than he'd been catching. As far as some of the other guys finished, KVD ended up in 15th place, so I beat the legend, and Shaw owed me $1. He finished in 21st, so it was a real good, strong finish to the classic. And the other thing that I really took from this tournament, what I really learned here that made a big difference in all my future tournaments is Ken Cook was fishing Elk Neck State Park. He was fishing the launch ramp that my club launches out of now, and they had tournaments there. It was released fish. Zell Rowland was starting the tournament. He ended up finally finishing 4th place, and he was fishing for the released fish at the Susquehanna Harvard the Grace launch area where you know, the Redman's always went out to. And Rick Clun, who ultimately was in the top 10 for the first 2 days but fell out the last day, he was fishing the rock around the Gunpowder State Park ramp that we ran the tournament off. So he was fishing for release fish. And you guys fish against me in tournaments, especially the guys in my club. They know that I always do well in release fish. A couple other things I wanted to show you here. I showed you the patch. This here's I learned from the Bassmaster show that we were limited to 7 rods. They sent you this tackle box. I got my name on it here. Flambeau was the sponsor at the time. It's an old style drawer box. And the early classics, they limited you by weight. At this point, they limited you by, oh, look at there. That's hand-poured Sluggo. Didn't even know I had. They limited, if you fit in this box, you could take, you could bring it with you. No other lures, nothing tied to your line, nothing like that. And that's the tackle we were limited to. And every contestant in the thing gets one of these trophies, which is I hang on the wall of the entranceway to my home. Most of my trophies are, on the walls here in my tackle room here, or the basement. We call it the tackle room. And, so it's been fun looking through, reminiscing and looking through all this old, there's a classic report, digging out all this old memorabilia. It's got this stuff just everywhere. And next I'm signed up for the invitationals, so I fished with a pretty notable angler the first day of the first invitational of my first full season, and I'm going to tell you the story about that next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.